Good morning, everyone. My name is Brittany, and welcome to the Dairy Leaders of Tomorrow virtual farm tour. We are so excited that you are joining us today as we not only tour a dairy farm, but also explore careers in the dairy industry by meeting a few dairy professionals who work with our dairy farmers. First, for anyone that is new to the Dairy Leaders of Tomorrow, this program is provided by the Dairy Excellence Foundation in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania, and is available to the students and teachers across the country. Dairy Leaders of Tomorrow program is a comprehensive program designed specifically to prepare high school students to pursue careers in the dairy industry. Using a three-part model, the Dairy Leaders of Tomorrow offers classroom curriculum, scholarships for the educators and students, and on-farm experiences like the virtual farm tour today. We welcome you to check out the website, dairyleadersoftomorrow.com, to learn more about the program and see if the program and curriculum would fit for you. All right, so next, we're going to go ahead into getting ready for our live chat today. So as you can see, the chat is enabled, and you'll be able to use that chat throughout the day today and ask any questions throughout the tour. And we're really excited to hear your questions, and our farmer is ready to answer them, and our professionals. So this morning, we are visiting the dairy farm in northeast region of Pennsylvania called Four-Zag Hill Farm. Four-Zag Hill Farm is a fourth generation dairy farm with approximately 70 cows. We will learn about the farm's compost bin, pack barn, cow comfort, manure management, and their commitment to environmental sustainability through their conservation and nutrient management plan. Farmer Rosalie has experience with business planning and financial management in addition to dairy production and managing the farm. Without further ado, we are going to kick off our virtual tour today, meeting Farmer Rosalie. Good morning, Rosie. How are you doing today?
Good morning, Brittany. How are you?
I'm doing well. I'm really excited to have you today, and we cannot wait to see your farm. So go ahead and take it away.
Well, good morning, everybody. Welcome to northeastern Pennsylvania. You are in Columbia County. We're right outside Berwick. I am fourth generation here. I graduated from high school and I went to Penn State, and I have a degree in animal science. After college, I moved, I worked for a large dairy farm as a herds manager for 2 years, and then I moved back home to take over the family farm. So during that time, I also work part-time as an analyst for Ag Choice Farm Credit. So I do cash flow planning and budgeting and benchmarking programs for Ag Choice. In 2015, I took over the dairy farm from my mom and dad. And then I purchased this farm that we're here right now from them. And then I built this facility to move all of our cows up here. And basically the number one goal was to improve cow comfort as well as to improve labor efficiency here. So this building was specifically designed for our cows and how we like to work with our cows. This whole facility can be run on one person. Right now we have, it's me, my mom and my dad that run this facility. My mom and I do 100% of the cow work, and my dad manages the crops and the manure management here. My mom takes care of all the heifers and the calves, which are at our old location, which is about 3 miles away. I also do the outside work here. I manage the bedded pack. I feed the cows. I also do all the record keeping and the book work. So like I said, I'm fourth generation. I have 2 younger brothers that are not on the farm here right now, but they do help out when they're available, mostly with the crops, but sometimes with the cows. I grew up showing and in 4-H and FFA and really enjoy that. I still do some showing. And we also have a classified registered herd of cows. So, that is important to me to keep breeding and family lines and genetics in the Holstein breed. So I guess what we'll do here is we're going to start our tour, and we're actually going to work from backwards to forward. So I'm going to show you where the milk leaves the farm first. So come on with me.
Awesome. And I know you said you were in 4-H and FFA, and I believe we actually have a few FFA groups with us today watching live. So hello to everyone while we're making our way in. I see some folks from Florida, some folks from North Carolina. So it's great to have you all, and exciting to have some FFA groups on here.
Awesome. So here we are in our milk house. So we have a 2,700 gallon tank. that it is bigger than what we need right now. We ship about 1,000 gallons of milk every other day. We purchased a bigger tank just for, I call it my insurance policy, because if we have bad weather or what have you, we can still store milk and not have to dump any milk if the milk truck can't get here. If you want to pan over to there, we have a wall of my quality awards here. We've been fortunate that we've had gotten bonuses and awarded for our quality here at the farm for many years. This is just the 6 years that we've been here, but we've had awards for the past 20 plus years with my parents being involved. So if we come here, this tank here is called a bottom fill. So most tanks you see will fill milk from the top. Ours actually fills from the bottom. So this pipe connects to the tank and the milk flows into the tank from the bottom. I tease people because they say the milking equipment guys did this for me because they know I'm short and they don't like me to climb up on the tank. So I appreciated that they thought of me whenever they did this as a bottom fill instead of a top fill. If we come this way, we have a plate cooler, which is cooled by well water. So the milk comes in through the pipe from the milking parlor here, runs through these plates, and then comes out at the top and goes in the tank. So this cools the milk from the cow's body temperature at 101 down to about 60 degrees, and then the tank takes over from there to keep it cool. So then we'll go through here. This is a wash system that washes all the pipeline. And then in here, we call this my special needs area. This is where the cows have their babies, and if we have a sick cow that we need to take care of. These calves, we are all within about 2 weeks to a little over a month old. They're hanging out up here right now because we're currently out of space at our heifer's facility. But normally they would leave here within about 2 weeks of them being born, and they'd go down in individual hutches at our other farm. But like I said, these guys are hanging out. Looks like Cutie wants to come say hi. All of our calves are named, and they have, they'll end up getting their ear tags and their identification soon, but she's gonna eat you guys. So like I said, these guys are 2 weeks. The ones over in the far pen there are around within 2 weeks old. These guys are a little older. And then we'll move into here. So this is our milking parlor. And it is a what they call a double 4 step-up parlor. And I have a cow here that will demonstrate how we milk for you. If you just want to hang out there, we'll bring her to you.
Oh, awesome. So we get to see what it looks
this cow's
like. Very cool.
So this cow's name is Leah. She's 7 years old, and one of the babies in that pen is hers. She just had a calf about 2 weeks ago. So the cows walk through this little gate here, and then they can pick where they want to go. And I'll see her to go up into a stall here for you. Come on. And she's being shy. Come on. So they she wants to say hi.
She's curious what's going on.
I can get her to come up in here for you.
She's confused.
Oh,
it's not her normal time of being milked. Cows
no, it's
definitely
not. She wants to take a nap.
Right. They have routine, right? They like doing things at their time and when they're used to doing everything.
So they step up in here. And she'll come up, shut that gate.
Okay.
So
Oh,
see,
there
she
she
starts that
goes.
gate on her own. Then we get started to milk here. We use what they call an iodine foam dipper. So there's some a little bit of air and iodine in there that we use to put on their teats as a disinfectant. Now I want this on her since she's already been milked, but this will clean it off or put it on there to help sanitize her teats. And then we wipe them off with a paper towel and we put the milker on her here. These milkers, we identify each cow with a number. So we put their number in here, and then these milkers keep track of their milk weights and how long they've milked, and it actually stores it in my computer, so I can keep track of how much each cow milks. And then whenever, if they get sick or whatever, computer will flag it and not reaching their milk production. So we have easy access to the records to keep our cows healthy, and we can watch that information. Also, these milkers too, if they don't hit a expected yield every day, these milkers will flash red and tell us if something is wrong. So when she's done milking,
Gotcha.
and they're there for about 5 to 8 minutes, we will dip them with this pre-dip, or this post-dip, I should say. That's a barrier dip, and it keeps everything nice and sanitized until the teat end closes, and it'll keep bacteria from entering her udder. And when she is done, we'll let her out, and she will go out on her own, and she will go right back out to feed.
Wonderful.
So
Farmer Rosie,
we'll just let her.
Oh, there we go. I was gonna say our video was frozen there for a little bit, but I think it's coming back now. So
Okay. So we'll come out here a little bit, try to get better service.
yeah,
Parlor, we can milk. Can you see me now?
I think
The
so.
parlor we can milk. So the parlor we can milk 8 cows at a time, and it usually takes us about to milk about 70 cows. So if we walk out here, we'll talk a little bit about our bedded pack. So our cows are housed on what they call a compost bedded pack. So our cows are laying on a mixture of manure and sawdust that is being composted. So it actually heats up and breaks down all the bacteria and stuff that's in there, and keeps a nice dry bedding for the cows to lay on. We only put sawdust in here about once a week, and it's a very small amount of sawdust. Right now, there's probably 6 months of manure in that pen pack right now. We use it as a manure storage, and we only clean it out about twice a year. But as you can see, it's fairly dry and keeps the cows fairly clean. The other interesting thing about our barn here, it's naturally ventilated. We designed it for maximum airflow without any fans. So we get a kind of like a tunneling and a chimney effect here with the airflow coming from any direction, and it flows up and out the roof. And in the wintertime, it acts like a chimney and pulls out all the odors and the heat out of there. So the cows, they have as much access to feed and water as they want. They can lay however, wherever, whenever they want. And you can see they're pretty calm and chilling there, just enjoying their breakfast that they had this morning, and relaxing for the rest of the day. We do milk 2 times a day. Like I said, we're currently shipping about 1,000 gallons every other day. And what we noticed moving the cows into this facility, that we did get increased milk production because the cows are more relaxed. They can do whatever they want, and we don't have to interact with them so much. So the cows are being fed a mixture of corn silage, 2 types of hay, and grain. They get fed once a day, and they're eating about 100 pounds of feed per cow per day. So we, definitely try to keep that fresh and in front of them at all times. And I don't know if you can see.
Just a pause there. You said 100 pounds of feed a day is what you're feeding per cow, correct? So,
yes.
And you have about 70 cows that are, so that's a lot of feed. For anyone that feels like doing the math, that's a lot of food you're mixing and making every single day. That's incredible.
Yes. So, and I don't know if you can see over there in the feed alley there, but we do have a spinning cow brush that I think it runs 24/7. The cows love it. It keeps them nice and clean, and they like their back scratched, just like a massage that they get anytime they want. So,
Oh,
and then the other thing that's unique about our barn here is that we do have a gravity flow manure system that we have, and we can walk over this way and we can show it. We designed this so that it would keep liquids off the floor. We don't have an alley scraper. So in this barn, we put a pipe in the middle of the floor that's buried right in the center, and we have these slats. So as we push the manure with a skid loader and a tire, it falls down in these slats. And then whatever's left, we have a hopper at the end of the barn, which is a big pit that it goes down in there, and it gravity feeds into a manure pit. So this barn is on a slope. So if a cow pees or they drinking water and splash it, it will run down into those slats instead of staying on the floor, and actually keeps their feet drier and cleaner, and keeps the barn cleaner as well. So that was the design that we did. Like I said, this whole barn we designed for our cows and how we like to work with our cows. And so far, everything's worked just like we thought and how we planned, and we really love it, and the cows really love it. So I guess if there's any questions, I'd be glad to take them.
yeah, no, that is incredible. First of all, that design of that barn, who did you work with to come up with that design? Was that kind of something you guys knew you always wanted, or was there a team that helped you build that? Because that seems pretty ingenious, very simple, but yet still makes a lot of sense and allows you guys to really take care of your animals very well. So it was kind of that thought process of building that.
Right. So we had cows in an older barn when we had big cows, and I wanted to have a place that we could have big cows that could still, move and not hurt themselves, and they could kind of hang out for as long as they wanted. So we actually worked with Penn State Extension, and then I did a lot of my own research on compost bedded pack barns. Kentucky seems to be the ideal leader, and the research is coming out of Kentucky, so we were able to adapt it here in Pennsylvania. And then also my dad is also an engineer. So between my dad and Penn State Extension and myself, we were able to come up with this building. And like I said, we toured a lot of barns and saw a lot of stuff, and we were able to put bits and pieces from different facilities into this to make it to what we want.
Awesome. So it really was a team effort, you
Yes.
as a farmer you have to be very smart to come up with this stuff and know what works for your cows, but then you obviously also have a team you rely on that can help you kind of bring all those pieces together. That's amazing. We do have a couple of questions that have come in. One question was, how many pregnant cows do you have on the farm at any given day?
So ideally you want to keep like 30 to 40% of your cows pregnant all the time. So right now we have about 45% of our cows are pregnant. And that's something that we've been able to keep consistent with in this facility. The cows show better heats and they seem to be more fertile. So we're not pushing our cows to get pregnant, but they are, the reproduction here is very good in that we can maintain that 30 to 40% pregnant at all times. And that keeps our milk production consistent through the year. So we don't have major influxes like in the spring versus the winter and the summer.
No, absolutely. That makes sense. And as you said, you're not pushing those cows. It's a very animal instinct, natural thing to be pregnant once a year. Think about any wild animal ever, they have babies once a year, and it's very similar to you guys. And you're just following that natural pattern of having a calf once a year. And is that pretty average, right? About one calf a year? Do you ever have twins or triplets or anything like that?
Yes. So I've never had triplets, but I've had twins. I probably have 2 or 3 sets of twins every year. But yeah, so right now our average calving interval, which is the time between that a cow has her calf from one to the next, is about 13 months. So on average, our cows are having a calf every 13 months. And that, like I said, again, that's to keep our milk production consistent. So our cash flow is consistent when we have to pay our bills every month.
Right. Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, these animals, they're animals and they're part of an awesome business, and this is their career, just like we go to work. Maybe some of you guys work at the local restaurant or a teacher, that's your job. These are their jobs. This is their career, and Farmer Rosie takes really good care of them and lets them have an awesome day all day, every day at their career. So some other questions that we've gotten so far. How old are cows when they start the milking process?
So we try to have the cows have their first baby when they're 2 years old. So we are breeding them for the first time around 15 months to hit that when they turn 2, that they have their first calf. And as far as right now, the oldest cow I think I have is about 10. She is dry right now. She's actually going to have a baby here in about a month. But we have a lot of older cows, and that was the driver of building the barn the way we did, because we had a lot of older cows that we wanted to keep and keep them comfortable. So we have a lot of cows that are 7, 8, 9 years old right now. And then we've had them live into their teens. I did have a cow that lived to be 17. So, they do have a long lifespan, and if you take care of them and give them all their needs, they will live that long and possibly longer.
That's awesome. That's an incredible age. And I know, to some of us, hearing 15 months or 2 years, it's like, goodness, we can barely even walk at that age. But they're very mature, and they're at that mature age of a 20-something-year-old of an adult by then, right? Like that's cows naturally just mature a lot faster
Yeah,
than
so
humans.
right. So a cow is mature around 4 years of age. So, we have a lot of older cows, but we also have a lot of younger cows too. The cow there that you're looking at, her name is Sarsaparilla, and she is 2 years old. She just had her calf about a month ago, and she is currently milking about 75 pounds. So, she is one of our immature cows, but like I said, she's 2. But the red cow that you saw previously, she is about 4 right now. She's had 3 calves, sorry. And she's milking about 95 pounds. So she's just right there at the cusp of being mature. And if you want to see definitely a mature cow, if you want to come over here, this black cow here on the end, this is one of our older cows. She is 8. Her name is Gorgeous. She's probably one of our favorites. She is 8 years old, and you can see that she still is very healthy, youthful looking. I think she'll be around for a couple more years yet, because she can do whatever she wants and is very comfortable here.
That's awesome. And she is beautiful. She is definitely gorgeous, as you said, and I know that's her name, so it fits her well. We do have a couple
Yep.
questions here. We've got about 3 minutes or so to take some of these questions yet, and then we're excited to get going to our first professional that's on your farm. So a couple other questions that we've had so far. Do cows ever escape from their pens?
Unfortunately, yes. And they seem to do it at night when I'm the only one here. So yes, they do. Cows are very curious. And if you give them an inch, they'll take a mile. So you have to make sure all your gates are latched, and I actually have to keep the doors shut to make sure that if they do get out, they can't go out and roam. So yes, they do get out.
That's funny. Darn little things. They like to be curious, just as you can see, they're looking the phone and looking the camera and getting very curious. So another question, this is a great question. Someone was wondering, and I think this is from Alva School in Florida. They asked, how much money does it take to maintain the barns and broken panels and fuel and fans and things like that? Like, what's the maintenance like on a farm?
Oh, goodness. That is a very good question, and it depends on the farm. I think every farm needs to keep that maintenance budget in mind. And typically it could be, it could be 5,000, it could be 10,000. I don't think you can definitely put a number to it, but you're always going to have those maintenance costs that you need to keep. And honestly, I can't put a number to that, because stuff breaks and you have to fix it. So we know we can usually keep tabs of what it costs to feed the cows and what it costs for our supplies and everything else. But when it comes to those maintenance things, stuff happens, and
Right.
you just have to fix it and keep rolling.
Right. You do what you got to do, and absolutely. But you're talking, potentially tens of thousands of dollars throughout the year. They really are loving
Yes.
the camera.
Yeah, and it definitely depends on farm size.
Right. Absolutely. Absolutely. All right. So just a few last minute questions here that can have short answers before we head on over to our professionals. What time do you get up in the morning?
Oh, I get up between 5 and 5:30 every morning.
Gotta milk those cows, right? It's an early morning to the
Yep.
day and probably a long day too. So what time do you milk in the morning, and then what time does that mean you milk at night?
So we typically milk at 6 and 6, and it takes about an hour and a half. And it just depends how many of us are here. Like I said, one person can do everything here. So I can milk the cows in about an hour and a half by myself. If I have help, we can get done in a little over an hour. So,
Awesome.
but yeah, it's early mornings and late nights sometimes.
Yeah, I bet that. And then two more questions. What is the average cow's temperature?
So a cow maintains a temperature of 101.5 degrees. They don't register a fever until they hit about 100, 103. A baby calf typically runs a little higher, around 102. So, but if they raise much of above 102, we consider that a fever, and we will treat them with medicine as needed, depending on what's wrong with them.
Okay, very cool. And my last question for you, they were asking, do they get to live in the comfy barn all day long, or do they ever go out on pasture or anything like that?
So these cows stay in this barn all the time, but when they are dry and we're not milking them right before they have their calves, in the summertime we have a pasture at our other facility that they'll hang out down there for about a month, and then they'll come back up here to start to work again. So yes, they do see some pasture time, but these cows that are milking are on this comfy pack all the time. That way they have access to the feed and water, so they can stay comfortable and make milk.
Right. No, that makes sense. Wonderful. Thank you so much, Rosie, for taking some time to answer our questions. We really, we will gladly take more questions from all of you as we go through. If you think of something else you wanted to ask Farmer Rosie, we will be checking back in with her later after we're done chatting with our professionals. So feel free to go ahead and put those in the chat. We can get those later. We'll continue using that. But for now, we're going to go ahead and get started with our first professional. So thank you, Farmer Rosie. It was great chatting with you. We're going to go ahead and get ready to switch over our cameras here, and we're really excited to get started, and I'm just working on making sure we can see everybody. So I think we're getting on our cow cam 2 here, which is awesome. And with us today we have our state dairy princess, Michaela Davis, who's going to introduce our first farm professional. Hey Michaela, how are you doing today?
Hi, Brittany. Hi. Like Brittany said, my name is Michaela Davis. I'm the Pennsylvania State Dairy Princess. I come from a small farm in Berks County where we raise Holstein heifers. Today with me, we have Lewis Freeman. He is an ag engineer from Team Ag. Today, he's going to talk to us about ag engineering and how engineering was used to build this barn and all about our bed pack. So thanks for coming with us today.
Awesome. Thank you so much. We're really excited to have you here today. So as she said, we've got Lewis with us, and he's the nutrient management specialist. And we will gladly take any questions you have from Lewis again in that chat. And before Lewis goes ahead and gets started talking, I just want to remind you there actually is a discussion guide that you can be using to answer questions and take notes. It's actually in the description of the YouTube video here that you can go ahead and click on that link and download that if you want to take any notes. These are some great career opportunities that you can learn about, and you might not, maybe you can see yourself in this position one day. So we're excited to hear from you, Lewis. We actually do have you muted for a second, so if you want to go ahead and unmute yourself, our cam team here, and then we can go ahead and let you go. All right, Lewis, how are you doing? Good to see you.
Great. Hey, thank you very much for having me. Super excited to be out here today. So I work for Team Ag. We're based out of Ephrata, Pennsylvania, and Lancaster County. We do work all over the state, into New York, Maryland, New Jersey. So we get to see a lot of country. So we're up here today. So I'm a nutrient management specialist. We also have a team of engineers that work with us as well. So we go through the whole process with farmers of kind of helping to plan your dreams of what your farm wants to be, and a plan to make you efficient. And also, if environmental sustainability is your goal, economic efficiency. We try to bring all those together to make a profitable and sustainable farm that can house animals, grow crops. We try to bring the whole picture together. So a building like this, a lot of planning goes into it. It's really hard to change things around once you build it. So a lot of planning goes in. So our engineers help with everything from design and animal flow and housing, sizing requirements, things like that, all the way down to the permits and things that you need to get from your state, local municipalities and governments in order to properly conduct your building projects and so forth. So for instance, this bedded pack barn design is super important. So not only do you have 70 cows in here, that's one animal that's being raised here, but there's trillions of microorganisms and biology that lives in this barn, and it needs to be fed and it needs to have an environment where it's comfortable, just like a cow that wants to be able to go and eat and lay down. These biology need an environment where they have a good temperature, they're not too wet, they're not too dry, they get some sunlight and they get that airflow. So it's really important to have all that stuff planned out before you just start, say pouring concrete or anything like that. So that's why there was so much planning that went into a facility like this. And like Rosie was talking about, you want to have airflow, sunlight, because it all comes back to cow comfort. But in order to have that, you need that compost to be working right as well. And then also, this is not just a product for the cows to lay on. Manure isn't just a product that we get rid of for the sake of getting rid of it because we don't want it in our way. It's an extremely valuable asset on the farm to our crops, which then come back around to feed the cows. So this is spread on the fields. It's an extremely stable form of fertilizer for crops. It doesn't get, there's always forms of loss that come with crop nutrients, for instance. So it can run off, it can go into the air. So a compost is a great way to stabilize those nutrients so that they stay on the fields and help to replenish crop nutrients and so forth, so that you can have, provided the weather works in your favor and everything else, you can grow good crops.
No, absolutely.
So, another thing that we do at Team Ag is we're a full service agronomy company as well. So, and when we say service, we don't sell any products, we just sell our service. So we work as what's called crop consultants. So I do agronomy work where everything from soil sampling to crop scouting. So we help make recommendations for liming, fertilizer, manure applications. We help farmers to make recommendations to keep pests at bay, whether that's weeds, insects, diseases. So that, a typical day really changes. That's kind of the nice thing about it. We have our seasons of the year where we might be doing a similar thing, but by the time you're almost tired of it, well, you're into something else and you're excited to start that, and then it just gets to go through the seasons of the year. So that is a very fun part of it. So right now in the fall, we're out, crops are coming off of the fields, we're out taking soil samples. So a soil sample is pretty simple. You're just taking a small subset of, you're just basically pulling that soil out of the ground. We get it sent off to laboratories to get it analyzed, and then we can help interpret those results. We get those results on a sheet, and we help farmers make recommendations of things that they can do for their fields to help improve crops for next year and going forward from there. And then through the winter, we're meeting with farmers, we're going over stuff with them with that, and then in the spring, we're out in the field. So we scout for, we scout their hay crops, their corn crops to help make recommendations. Like I said, all across the state to help make recommendations to improve yields, quality of those crops. So a lot of it just goes in the connotation of, you put a seed in the ground. Well, I think we all wish it was that easy, but we all know it's not. So farmers bring it all together. So you've heard that too, where farmers are the mechanics, they're the electricians, they're the nutritionists, they're the veterinarians. So they need, whether it's us at Team Ag or we need those other experts, we can help them fine tune things that they're doing to help make that farm successful. So a little bit of what I did, I went to Penn State for school. Grew up on a small farm, and we didn't do the farming there. I grew up there, and kind of caught the bug, and it's got me to Penn State. I went for agronomy, studied agronomy, and got done school. I was in, you gotta, at least when you're in school, a big thing is, try to get involved. It's not just what you're doing in the classroom, it's what you're doing outside of the classroom. So
Right.
clubs, organizations, things like that. Hey, just go get you could just go, get after school jobs at farms,
Yeah.
things like that. I worked on the research farm, and it was one of my favorite times, and I got to learn so much, and a little bit of that background that I didn't have. I got to fill in a little bit with my ag background, and you can try to get well-rounded in school, and then you can come out and you can relate to farmers, you can talk to farmers, and it's really important to getting started, because the biggest thing too is I get to work with farmers every day, and that's one of my favorite parts of what I do. Every farm is different. I don't think you'll ever have anybody disagree with that. That everybody does things a little bit different. So every conversation you have is going to be a little bit different.
Right.
And there's not a one-size-fits-all solution for everybody's farm either. So that allows us, it allows us to take things that we learn to help from one farm and help another farm too. Because farmers, there's a big teamwork aspect with farming. Farmers, in close communities always come together, but
Yeah.
it's hugely important that farmers learn from other farmers.
Yeah.
So, you come out
Absolutely.
today and you see how one person's doing things, and do you have to do everything the way that the person you just, you looked at their farm, you have to do the same thing that they're doing? No, but you can piece it together, take away what you think would work for you, and use it here. So that's a little bit of what I enjoy about my job, is I get to do something a little bit different every day, and I just keep learning, and I have a lot of fun doing it. I guess another thing too. Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
I was just going to say there was a question. So just it sounds like you really like problem solving. Is that kind of you knew, in high school that you liked kind of solving problems and helping find solutions, or was that kind of something you discovered you liked as you were learning more in college and things like that?
I would say I discovered it. I guess you go through school, you start to learn. You start to learn a little bit of things that come up, and I would say it was kind of acquired over time. But yeah, it's a lot of problem solving. You have to take these different scenarios, and like I said, it's not an input output type of thing where there's this problem, here's this solution. For instance, you're never going to find the same grade on a farm or anything like that, where when we're trying to if we try to help with environmental challenges on a farm, not the same manure storage isn't going to work from one farm to the next. So it just takes some time. You're going to get frustrated because you're not going to always know what to say. I'm 25, so I've been out of school for 4 years now. So I don't know everything, and the biggest part of getting to learn is building the network around you, your coworkers, friends. I farm myself, and I farm part-time, so I wouldn't be where I was without other farmers that helped me along the way. So don't be afraid to ask questions, but also don't be afraid to say that you don't know. That's the biggest thing I would say. Is don't be afraid to say, hey, I don't know, but I'll get back to you. Now, when you say you're going to get back to somebody, you need to get back to them. Following up is extremely important. But it's always a learning experience. So I don't know everything. I still have tons to learn, and I'm excited to learn more and hopefully help farmers more. And then then you can start to help other people that maybe are starting to do what I do a little bit as well. So
yeah, and
everyone
and everyone has to start somewhere, right? So if someone,
yeah.
If you're looking at him right now and kind of thinking, wow, he seems to know a lot about what he does, and he just seems natural at this. Remember, he was just where you were at one point in time. He might have a drive for the dairy industry a little bit, or the ag industry, because he grew up at a farm, but it can be for anybody. And like you said, it's a lot of fun working with farmers. They're great people. It's a great organization, great knit community to work with. I did have another question, just what skills specifically do you think you need to be a nutrient management specialist? You know, is there something that you did when you were in high school or that you did in college or even younger that you were like, you know, this was a really good skill that I needed to do or could have done?
The biggest thing with that was I went to school for agronomy, so crops play a large role in nutrient management planning because obviously that's where, you know, animal nutrients from manures, they get applied to crops, so that kind of drew me towards it. But you can come from a variety of different backgrounds. We had a gentleman that's doing the same thing I'm doing. He started in May. He went to school for environmental science. So you don't necessarily even have to come from the ag sector to do this. He had very little ag background. His first day, I was taking him around to farms, and he looked at me and he pointed at something. He said, "Well, what's that?" I said, "Well, that's a combine." So to a person that grew up on a farm, you know, that's something that you're really familiar with. But he wasn't. But he started in May. Now it's October. It's been 5 months, and what he's picked up on, and he can now go out and he can carry a conversation with farmers and things like that, and he's doing great. So just because I have an ag background and I maybe have a passion for ag just from my childhood doesn't mean that you can't do this without having a different background, because if your passion is helping the environment, agriculture is a great place to start. We have ag has come tremendously far in the last, you know, 30, 40, 50 years in environmental sustainability. And whether we like to say it or not, we still have places to go with that. So we can, if you have a passion for the environment, if you have a passion for wildlife, farms all play into that. So definitely doesn't stop at the edge of that stuff doesn't stop at the edge of the farm field from the woods. It
Yeah.
comes onto the farm too. So I would say don't let your, you know, what classes you choose in high school, the major you choose in college dictate what you want to do. If you know what you want to do, then you pursue that. But if you're a little bit unsure, all roads lead back to ultimately a dream that you might have. So don't be afraid that going one direction is gonna mess that up.
Yeah, I think that should be a quote somewhere with a picture of you somewhere. You know, if you love agriculture, then, I mean, if you love in the environment, you care about the environment, then agriculture is the way to go. Like, it's just, and that couldn't be more true. Everything a farmer does is to care for the environment, care for their community, and care for their cows. So that was an excellent quote. And Louis, if you don't mind, kind of giving us just a wrap up of, you know, maybe the reason you do this, why you wake up every morning, and any last minute things you have to tell and share with us.
Yeah, I just like I said, I just like working with farmers. I get excited because every day I get to go to a new farm, and like I said, I farm my wife and I farm in the evenings. We raise hay and we have some beef cattle, so I get to actually go around and I get to see something cool, and I get to ask them, hey, why do you do that? You know, so it's kind of like I'm getting paid to learn things about farming, and I used to pay to go to school to I thought it would teach me more about ag, but now I get to help farmers too. I get to bring that insight together, and when we can reach, so a lot of times with my job, we might go out to a farm that might have some problems. So he might have a runoff issue that we need to address. When we can have a conversation and he can understand, because some farmers, at times farmers can be a little bit apprehensive to, you know, maybe somebody telling them what to do. They don't want to be told what to do. Or farmers are extremely independent, and the biggest thing with that is when you can get to a reasonable a solution to a problem. So when the farmer says, I think that's reasonable, and because we work a little bit as an intermediary between the regulatory agencies, so Department of Environmental Protection, county conservation districts, so we can help to find so that the farmer doesn't feel like he's being, you know, taken advantage of, but he's also providing where he's creating a solution for his farm. So when we can come to that where he goes, hey, you know, that's reasonable, and I think that that's something realistic that I can do, and then we also feel like we're solving an issue at the same time, that's a lot of fun to be able to do that. So
Awesome.
yeah,
That
I
is
enjoy that a lot.
wonderful.
Yep.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Lewis. This was absolutely fantastic. You make me want to have your job. I know it's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun to work with farmers, and even though I get to sit behind the desk over here, I know it's a lot of fun to be on the farms, and you make it exciting to want to be a you know a nutritionist. Oh my goodness, excuse me, a nutrition management specialist. I apologize. And just working for Team Ag, and how awesome. So thank you so much for sharing what you love and about your career. Feel free, everyone, continue to put questions if you have any in that chat. But I hopefully you're taking notes on that discussion guide that we provided for you, because there will be some questions asked at the end in our Kahoot game that we're going to do. So I hope you're keeping track of what all of our speakers are saying here today. So thank you again so much, Lewis. This was wonderful. And with that, we're going to go ahead and switch over to Michaela. And Michaela, you're going to go ahead and introduce our next professional. I believe you guys are just muted right now, but if you want to go ahead and unmute, awesome. And Michaela, take it away.
Hello again. Today with me, we have Dave Hartman. He is a livestock agent through Penn State Extension. He's going to talk about his career within the Penn State Extension services and also other different ag careers that you could possibly get into. So we're looking forward to hearing from Dave. Thank you.
Wonderful. I know I'm really excited to hear from you, Dave. Again, don't forget you can use that chat to answer any questions. Keep track of that discussion guide if you've got anything to ask him, and I'll let you take it away, Dave. Go for it.
All right, thank you. And thanks, Michaela, for the introduction. So I'm with Penn State Extension, and a lot of you are probably thinking, I've heard of Penn State, or I've watched Penn State football on TV or something like that, but what is Penn State Extension? So every state in the nation has an extension service through their land-grant university. All right, so in our case, that is based at Penn State, and the idea with that is to have informal educational services available primarily for folks in agriculture, but there's other topics and other subject matter as well that we might be involved in and provide education in. All right, so Extension is a non-regulatory agency. We're there for education and troubleshooting purposes. We're funded primarily by state funding, with also county funding coming into that picture to help us with our office space and secretarial help, and also a small amount of federal funding comes into Extension as well to make the whole thing work. And in some places you'll hear it referred to as cooperative extension, and the cooperative means it's cooperative between federal, state, and local government. A little bit about my background. I did grow up in this general region, and I have a degree in animal science from Penn State, as well as a master's degree in agronomy or forage agronomy from Penn State as well. I've been an extension agent with Penn State, or extension educator with Penn State for the last 36 years, working primarily in central Pennsylvania, with many years based at Bloomsburg and also some years based at Montoursville, as well as earlier in my career, Carlisle. So a little bit about extension careers. If you're confused, so I'm saying agricultural careers primarily is what we'll focus on. And within Extension, we have a number of different subject matter areas that we would focus on. Okay, so we have an animal systems team. So within animal systems, we have a team that focuses primarily on dairy, like we're here today at a dairy farm. We also have a team that focuses on livestock production, another team that specializes in poultry, and also a team within animal systems that focuses on equine or horse issues. Okay. Agronomy. So maybe agronomy is a term you may not have heard before, but agronomy in the agricultural field means crops and soils. And then these crops we're talking about field crops, such as like you see around the countryside, such as corn, forage crops, soybeans, wheat, those types of things. And also soil science falls under the larger term of agronomy. We do have folks that specialize in horticulture. So horticulture is divided, that's a broad term, and that's divided into a couple of different areas. Food crop horticulture or commercial hort would be folks that work primarily in vegetable and fruit production. And then also what we call green industry hort. That would be folks that specialize in things such as landscape, shrubbery, arborist, that type of thing. Farm business management, we do have some people that focus primarily on business management, and that is to work with farmers in all types of enterprises to help them to learn ways to run a more efficient business and be more successful and more profitable. Forestry and natural resources is another subject area that we do have folks that work primarily in that, and that would be managing woods and forests to accomplish the goals that you want them to accomplish, whether that is production of timber or whether it's a wildlife habitat or whatever that may be. We do have people that also work in the subject matter of nutrition and food safety. And so, of course, being the bigger picture for us is agriculture, but in agriculture, it primarily comes back to mainly food production. And so we do have people that get involved with nutrition, helping folks with better nutrition, as well as keeping food safe so that we don't get into food illness issues when we eat that. We also oversee the 4-H program. So many of you may be 4-H members in your respective counties. And so 4-H was started as an ag organization for youth to learn about agriculture enterprises, but has evolved into many other subjects that are involved in 4-H besides the agricultural types of projects that that some of you might be familiar with. So
Very
what kind
cool.
of positions do we have? We have basically, I'm in what we would call field-based positions. So I'm based in a county office. I work in a larger region of central Pennsylvania to conduct education in the form of seminars, conferences, webinars. We do farm visits for troubleshooting. We write articles and fact sheets, that type of thing. Person in a position like I have has to have at least a bachelor's degree, but usually a master's degree is required for our position, and hopefully a few years of experience to go along with that. We also have folks based at Penn State who are specialists, what we would call a specialist position. And those folks would generally have a doctoral degree, okay, referred to as a PhD, which involves 3 to 4 more years of schooling to do more research, learn about the research process, and focus in on a specialized topic. Our specialists would have not only a doctoral degree, but we do have some folks that specialize in veterinary medicine. So those folks would have a veterinary degree to accomplish their job. We also have administrators, and an organization like ours has administrators that often come from within the system, and persons in those jobs usually have at least a master's degree, if not a doctoral degree.
So I'm starting to hear.
So what's a typical work day?
Yeah, I was gonna say I'm starting to hear a
does somebody have
lot of. Oh, I was just gonna say I'm starting to hear a lot of schooling is in the future of anyone that would be interested in working for Penn State Extension, which is totally fine. But that means I would think, if anyone's listening, and I know we had someone that said they're in 4-H, which is awesome. So it's we're happy to have you on here as a 4-Her, and you get to hear from David. But maybe some folks aren't from 4-H or FFA or really don't have any much ag background, but they're still interested. It sounds like they'll get a lot of schooling to learn what they need to learn to be able to do this job, correct? So they don't necessarily need to come from a farm or anything like that.
No, that's a good point. Not everybody certainly was born into a situation where they grew up on a farm, but don't let that hold you back. The agriculture and food systems is a very large career area, and there are good jobs in the larger ag systems and food area that you could qualify yourself for by getting a degree in agriculture. If you want to work in extension, then you're probably going to be required to have a master's degree as well, which is only 2 more years of schooling. One thing you can do if you think you might be interested in agriculture is to get some experience somehow. Go and see if you can find a job working in a farm or some other type of agricultural business, to give yourself some experience and some exposure to the industry, learn how things work. And you can do that while you're in high school. You can do that in your summers while you're in college as well.
Awesome. Great. So yeah, I think you're about to tell us then, why do you love your job? Why do you wake up and do what you do every day? What's your why?
Okay. What's my why? Well, I grew up in agriculture, so it was kind of a natural for me. I was always interested in biology. So the type of field that I'm in, I tell people I'm basically a biologist, but there's also biochemistry, chemistry, ecology comes into that. And then it's all tied together in farming and with business. Okay, the industry revolves around business. So I was always interested in all of those kinds of things. And so I find it an interesting field to work in. In our job, we are able to focus on helping folks to improve their businesses, run more efficient farms, and have more success and prosperity. That would, I guess, would be the why. I've met a lot of really interesting people, seen a lot of really interesting farm businesses over the last 36 years, and so that's been a very rewarding part of the job.
Awesome. And so you said, your why, that you really love working, you love doing what you do because you like biology and everything like that. But when's the first moment that you realized you liked that? I'm sure you didn't go to kindergarten knowing I want to be a biologist and I want to work for Penn State. So what was, what was something you did maybe in middle school that some of the folks that are watching today might say, hey, I do that. Maybe that could be my job because I like doing X, Y, and Z. What was something that as a child you liked doing that kind of led you to where you're at now?
Well, I guess as a youngster, I liked helping on the farm and helping take care of livestock. So that's how I got into it. And again, I was fortunate to have that opportunity. I understand that not everyone has that opportunity, and growing up on a farm. But then through that, I was able to get involved in 4-H livestock and was able to raise some pigs and then some steers, and had that as well. So another thing, I guess, it was an interest for me was wildlife and being in the woods and hunting and that type of thing. And that's another opportunity that's available for anybody that's interested in that. So that's, I guess, would be my first exposure to biology at that level. Then it got more intensified in high school. I realized, through advanced biology classes in high school that I wanted to have something to do in terms of a career with biology in some way, shape, or form.
Awesome. No, that's very helpful. Thank you. I know sometimes we sit here thinking, gosh, I like math, or I think I like writing, but I don't know what I can do with it. So that's very helpful. You liked biology, and this is kind of where it took you. So it's very neat.
Yep.
Awesome.
So I think, is there another question?
So we just had one other one. Do you work year round? Is this a seasonal job? What's that like? What's kind of your average day, I guess?
Oh, we work year round. We get a few weeks off for vacation, certainly, but our flow is year round. Typical flow through the year for a person involved in ag extension. I do part of my time working in livestock production, part of the time working in crop production. But generally for us during the winter time is what we call the winter meeting season. So farmers, we put together educational opportunities, conferences, seminars, webinars, that type of thing for folks that are involved in farming. A lot of that takes place during the winter time. There's a little bit of a lull in that type of activity in the springtime, but we may be involved in doing field plots for different purposes to show different types of studies and things like that in the field. So that type of thing happens, is established in the springtime. Then during the summer, especially in the later part of the summer, we start doing some outdoor meetings. We call them maybe twilight meetings or field meetings, that type of thing, in August, September, October. And then, in the fall, start preparing for our winter meetings again. So that's a rough approximation of a flow, how things go through the course of a year with the job like I'm in. That's interspersed, of course, with farm visits at any time. You know, we have calls and contacted by people who maybe are experiencing problems on their farm of some type or another and would like to have some input on that. And at that point, we can evaluate that in the field as field staff. And then if we want to call upon specialists who are based at the university, whether they be in you know, livestock production or dairy or cropping or veterinary or something like that, we can contact those folks as well for input and more expertise.
Wonderful.
Somebody,
Yeah.
I think I saw a question somewhere that was asked what my biggest challenge was.
Oh, that's
And
a good one.
so a challenge for me has been the pace of the change in technology. So you have to understand that when I came into Extension, I'm not an old guy, I don't think, but in 1985 is when I started. I did not have a computer on my desk for the first probably 10 years of my career. And I actually came into the job replacing a person who had been asked to go around and help get offices computerized in her part of the state. And they hired me to replace what she had been doing before that. So computerization at that time, the secretaries in our offices got the best computers. And then when they were done with them, then eventually they handed them down to us. And so that's kind of how things started to evolve. But the pace of technology change has been really quick, especially in the last 10 years. For us to get geared up to do webinars and do things like the Center for Dairy Excellence is doing today with distance technology, that's been tough for me to get used to. And but it's just part of the package anymore. It's the way things are for education.
Right, right. And I'm sure those who are listening today, maybe they're used to this technology, but think about, I mean, really, like you said, in the last 10 years, a lot has changed. And I think we can predict to see a lot more change in the next 10 years. And it's interesting that you say technology has been one of the biggest things, been the biggest challenges, because some people look at farming and say, farming technology, they don't really go hand in hand. But the reality is it's quite the opposite. You know, you guys use the top of the line technology for not only your research, but then also on the farm. A lot of farms have all kinds of technology, right? I mean, it's incredible what farms do nowadays and how you can really have smart barns and things like that.
Oh, that's exactly right. There's technology has entered into farming, whether you're in dairy production like we're seeing here today, livestock, crop production, horticulture, forestry, and technology has been adapted to helping those types of enterprises be more efficient and more successful, more profitable, and productive. So, yep.
Well, thanks, David. I think everything you said is awesome. I'd love to see, I know we're talking about biology. If any of you listening today is really interested in biology, I'd love for you to maybe put a little hand raise emoji in the chat. Or you can share what you are interested in. You know, take a poll of your class and your students that are listening today. What's the thing that they really seem to be most interested in? We'd love to know. And David, as we get any of those in, is there any last minute words you'd like to say here before we switch to our final speaker today?
Yeah, I would say, I mean, if you're interested in you think you might be interested in agricultural production as a career or some part of the field of agriculture as a career, don't be afraid to explore that. Don't think it's not for you because you didn't grow up on a farm. You know, there's probably something somewhere that you would find of interest. Talk to people in ag careers, find out, you know, what's going on and what types of things there may be out there that you could slot into that might be of interest to you.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, David. We appreciate your time today. And with that, we will get ready to switch over to our next team. Let's see if we can get their camera up here for us so we can join our last speaker. And I believe with our speaker is also Princess Michaela. And we will get to hear from Princess Michaela on who our third speaker is. And I believe we actually get to talk to some ag business consultants today and to see how they have helped Farmer Rosie on their farm and really to be a successful business. And so go ahead, Michaela, I will let you take it away. let's see if we can get them back up here. There we go. And I think they are muted right now. So, all right, go
All
ahead,
right.
Michaela.
Hello, today we have two representatives from Ag Choice Farm Credit. We have John and Mike, and they're going to talk to you about their careers and also about financing. And we're excited to learn about them. So thank you guys for being here.
Very cool. No, I know I'm excited to hear about this. And so
Thanks,
she
Michaela.
said, yeah, so she said financing, maybe if as Mike here goes and starts talking about what he does, if you like to deal with money or, you like to save money or work with your money, or maybe you just, you like working a job or helping people make money. So, this is your time to listen in and see what Mike has to tell you. So Mike, take it away.
Thanks a lot there. And yeah, if you like money, that's some of the things you can do with us. But I'm a believer if you like numbers, so the career we have here at Ag Choice is one you can do with numbers and number crunching. So again, I am Mike Hosterman. I'm a business consultant with Ag Choice Farm Credit. And just quickly, Ag Choice Farm Credit is a cooperative. We lend money to producers in Pennsylvania here, but we are part of the national farm credit system. So the things I'm talking about, most of the farm credits across the US would have some of the same stuff. So at Ag Choice, you could be a credit analyst working in our headquarters department where we actually crunch the numbers to help make loan decisions for producers. We've got loan officers that go out and meet with producers to find out what financing needs they have and help them finance their land, their buildings, their equipment. And then we also have a department that John and I work for, which is our business management services group, where we actually have people that do tax and record work for producers. Or John and I are business consultants where we help producers make business decisions. So one of the things I really like about my career at Ag Choice is I have spent 32 years helping producers make business decisions. I started my career as a loan officer working in Southern Pennsylvania, where I really just got to make decisions on their future, helping them make loan decisions. Can we finance the tractor they want to buy, finance the farm they want to buy? I grew up on a beef and hog farms. My background in central Pennsylvania, also had grandparents that had a dairy. So I had a passion for livestock. I love cows, got to work with farms that had that. My family farm wasn't big enough for me to go back to. So I was able to go out and actually work with a variety of families who I have a passion helping with agriculture. So I really like crunching numbers. And in my career right now, the best part of my job is sitting down with families, helping them make business decisions for their futures, helping see these farms go from one generation to the next. It's enjoyable to work with families that have a passion for agriculture when you can't go back to the farm and help produce the food and fiber that we all need every day. So that is really the rewarding part of my job, is getting to work with farm and families. And I love numbers. So sitting down every day reviewing financial numbers does not bother me. If I had to say a challenging part of my job, the worst part is time management. Uh, Obviously, I like to talk to people, I like to talk to families, but we get a lot of work. So the challenging part of my job is actually being able to manage the time to get out with the number of customers I get out to. So time management becomes a challenge, but again, it's really enjoyable to get out and help these families and work with a company that actually has a passion to see agriculture grow. So in our roles, we get to sit down and help them make decisions on how can we transition the farm to the next generation? How can we expand our operation? So we spend a lot of time listening. And there's a key skill I'd say you need as in our organization is listening skills. Being able to sit down and listen to the family and truly find out their needs or wants. So it is a challenge sometimes, but it is fun to sit down and actually try to learn about what they want to do, and how they can do it. So education wise, I have a 4-year degree from Penn State. I'm a Penn State graduate. I went there for ag business management. And again, the goal was to go back to the farm, and we couldn't make that work as a family. So I went to work for Farm Credit, helping families make decisions. We do look for people that in our organization that like to work with numbers, have good people skills, and we tend to look for those that have some type of additional education after high school to come into our organization. So I'm going to turn it over to John so he can talk more about our background, more about education and what we do. So John, I'll turn it over to you.
Wonderful. I know we're excited to hear from you, John. So go ahead and take it away. We'd love to hear from you.
Okay, thank you. So again, I'm John Black. I am also a business consultant with Ag Choice. I have a degree from Penn State in ag business, and that's about where the similarity between Mike and my career paths end. So I grew up on the family dairy farm. Had an 80 cow herd, and I was always interested in both the cows. I was a cow guy and also the financial guy. So I had interest in finances from the very beginning. Was a partner in the family dairy farm till my late 30s, and we kind of decided at that time to split our business due to some issues in transitioning the farm. At that point, I went to work, got some tax experience, and spent 16 years doing taxes for a farm organization, doing working with farm records and farm taxes. So I got a little taste of tax numbers, crunching numbers, and also working with families in succession and transition planning. 3 years ago, I came to Ag Choice, and I found it very rewarding. I like the challenge of working with somebody new, working with different projects. Some of them are relatively short, a few months working with the transition feasibility study. Other situations we get into long-term working with finances on a quarterly basis. So really like the idea. The thing I enjoy most about it is being able to get out and see different types of dairy, different types of agricultural businesses on the farm. That's what I missed the most when I was doing the tax work, that I wasn't able to get out, get my feet dirty and walk the barns. I think
Awesome.
I think one of the strengths that I bring to this organization is my varied background. And I think to move into a consulting role, you really have to have a lot of different variety of experiences. So I grew up on a small dairy herd, got some background in agriculture that way, went in the financial side to learn the numbers, and then work with different various size herds along the way. So I feel like quite a variety of different experiences has helped me grow into this job finally. So I think maybe the most challenging part of my job, sometimes we work in some difficult situations where financially it's difficult for the farm to go on to making some difficult financial decisions, transition in estate planning where maybe not everybody on the same page, and you're working with family business, so it can get pretty emotional. And that's one of the things I struggle with the most, is having to go into those difficult decisions. But from the other hand, I feel comfortable knowing that I can go in it as totally objective in the situation and help them look at it without any emotion involved. So that's a little bit where I come from and what I do. I think the best way to grow into a job like this, get a good education, look at a variety of different roles to gain more experience across the board. So that's where I'm at.
Yeah, no, wonderful. Thank you so much. It was great to chat with you, John, and to hear your perspective and also to hear Mike's perspective. Something we've actually heard all day, and whether you know this or not, it sounds like everybody has been a Penn State graduate. And just for those who are joining us, I know we've got some from Florida, some from North Carolina. So are there other great schools out there that you can go and get these kinds of degrees for those that might be from a different state?
Sure, there's a lot of good schools everywhere, but if you're from central Pennsylvania, Penn State is a school of choice. As far as Pennsylvania, it's either Penn State or Delaware Valley are two of the top agricultural schools. And from here, you go into other states such as Ohio State University, Cornell, but across the country, if the very best places start looking at land grant colleges where they have a lot of research facilities such as Penn State, Ohio State, Michigan State, so forth.
Great. No, that's very helpful. Wonderful. So I do have to ask you, I'm sure between our middle schoolers and high schoolers and you, there's maybe a little bit of an age difference. And, right now, maybe they're in their first time job, or they're thinking, gosh, how do I ever get to where John is at? What was your first job that you took that kind of prepared you for this or made you realize this is what you wanted to do?
So I'm the wrong person to ask that. I grew up on a dairy farm, and so I can't remember the first time I was in the barn, but I was in the dairy barn and loved the cows from the very beginning. So that fueled my passion for agriculture. I think for maybe a middle school or young person, get involved. If you're not from a dairy farm or from a farming background, get involved with a local farm to get experience and find out what your passion is, what you enjoy. Certainly other avenues would be to join 4-H, to get a background. Many schools that offer FFA allow you to do a variety of different subjects and get your feet wet to find out what your passion is.
Wonderful. That's very helpful. So for you, for John, or for Mike, do either one of you guys have any last minute things you'd like to share before we head back over to Farmer Rosie and wrap up our tour today?
As far as I can say, again, just open yourself up to a variety of different experiences. I think going through life, the more experience you have now enables you to have more options down the road, both in your schooling and career paths.
Wonderful. Awesome. Thank you so much, John. And I don't know if Mike had anything else or not, but we can certainly give him a chance if he'd like anything else to say. But otherwise, we are going to get ready to hop on over to Farmer Rosie. So we'll go ahead and see if Farmer Rosie is ready for us. But again, thank you so much, Mike, so much, John. You guys do a lot of great work for Ag Choice. And I know Ag Choice has a lot of great job opportunities. As they've talked about, they have jobs. And I know we have plenty of folks who are younger, right out of college, starting their job with Ag Choice. They're a great business to work for, and there's lots of versions of Ag Choice out there that do similar work. So it looks like we are getting Farmer Rosie on here. We'll talk to you guys later. Thank you so much. And we will switch us over to Farmer Rosie. And it looks like we are out by their beautiful gardening here and outside their barn. And let's just go ahead and get them unmuted, and we will wrap it up with you, Farmer Rosie. So thank you so much for having us on your farm. We've had some good questions coming in. I know folks have really been loving what we've been learning, and they really love seeing the cows when they are with you. So any last minute things you have to share with us today?
No, I just really appreciate you guys taking the time to come visit us here today. I know we always welcome the chance to speak to groups and entertain people that aren't from farms or are looking for more information about farms. I know it's one of those things that, you know, there isn't very many of us here around here anymore to show what we do. And I'm proud to be a fourth generation farmer. A young beginning farmer too. So I take advantages of those programs, and I'm always available to answer questions.
Wonderful. And we did just have a couple of requests. Is there any chance we could maybe see those baby calves one more time before we tune off today? Is there any chance we can go see them?
So we might be able to sneak through the window so we don't lose our service again. While you guys were talking to Lewis, I heard them. I have fun watching them. They like to race around the pen, and I heard them racing when you guys were talking to Lewis. But yeah, if you can you see? There they are there.
Oh, there they are. Oh my goodness. You know, they all kind of look very white. Is that something you guys are breeding for at all, or is that just the bull you guys were using?
Yeah, so 5 of the 7 are sisters, and then the other 2 are sisters. So you know, the spots that just happens randomly. It doesn't matter what their genetics are, what their mother or their father is. And we were actually surprised that they all look alike. So I'm gonna have to get their ear tags in here soon before they get much bigger and I can't tell them apart.
Oh my goodness, and it looks like Princess Michaela is hanging out with some of them, and they're really loving the attention, it looks like. Oh my goodness. You know, so as we're getting to check out these calves, and we'll watch them a little bit while you share your final thing, but I'd love to know, as we wrap up today, what is the thing that inspires you to farm? Why do you do what you do every day to get up, milk those cows, and care for your 70 cows? Why is it so important to you to be that 4th generation farmer? You know, what is your why?
Right. So, you know, it feels like a legacy. You know, my great grandfather worked for the railroad, and you know, he wanted to farm. And so when my grandfather was in high school, they bought our original farm in like the 1940s. And so, you know, I feel like that's just carrying on the tradition. But why I get up in the morning, you know, I could have went to school for anything. the options were wide open. I was very heavily involved with music, and I, was contemplating an actual career in performance music. But at the end of the day, I couldn't see myself without a cow in my life, and I don't see this as work. These cows are my kids. Essentially, I take care of them. I'm happy when they're happy. I'm sad when they're sad. And, I don't look at it as a job. This is my family, and I really enjoy being around them. They entertain me. These guys are a riot. I do have cameras in the barn, and sometimes when I'm working from home virtually, just like many of the students are, sometimes I'll flip over that camera just to watch the calves play. So it's, it's just one of those things that I enjoy. And like I said, it's not a job to me. It's more of I don't want to say a hobby, but it's a lifestyle.
Yeah. No, absolutely. And just look at those calves. I mean, just look at them. They're so darn cute. Who wouldn't like hanging out with them every day, all day, and just caring for them? Well, truly, thank you so much, Farmer Rosie, for sharing your farm with us today. Your farm and family and what you have here is just beautiful. It was a pleasure learning about you and your farm. And we really had a lot of fun today. And thank you. Just thank you so much. So to everyone that is listening and watching today, we are going to finish up our day with a fun little Kahoot game to see how much you remember that while we were talking with Farmer Rosie. So we're going to go ahead and get a Kahoot game up. So if you want to get a device ready, whether it's a computer or a phone or something like that, to pull up Kahoot, that way you can get ready to play the game. We're going to put on the screen here your Kahoot code you're going to put in, and then the questions should come up on your device. So thank you, Farmer Rosie, but we're going to hop on over to our Kahoot game, and it was great talking with you today. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, so we are going to get our Kahoot game ready here. And here we go. All right, so our code number is 423702. 423702, and go ahead and put your names in and get ready to play the game. So you're going to go ahead and do www.kahoot.it, or you can use that app. And we'll wait for you guys. There's a little bit of a delay here on YouTube versus you guys. So we'll give it some time here, but it's 423702, and we'll see who is paying attention, and we'll have a little celebration at the end for whoever our winner is. Awesome. I believe there's about 8 questions that you guys get to answer. So we're excited to see you all joining us today. And if we can remember, think back on some things that Farmer Rosie talked about, or any of our speakers that they talked about. It's great to have you all on. Maybe if you were filling out that discussion guide, it can help remind you of some things that you learned about. All right, we're going to give it another 30 seconds here, and then we'll go ahead and get started. All righty. Looks like the names are coming in. It's great to have you all. Hopefully, if you haven't done a Kahoot game before, this is a fun experience for you. If you've done Kahoot before, then you're an old process, but the question will show up for you, and the answer options will show up for you, and you will select the square that matches the best answer to the question of what you think is the correct answer. And then each time we'll get to see who's going to be in first, second, and third as we move around positions, and they get answers correct or incorrect. All right, we're going to go ahead and get started here. We'll give it 5 more seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and start. All right, here we go. We are going to get started. So let's see what you can remember about Farmer Rosie and Four-Zag Hill Farm. So our first question is, how many generations of the Zaginaylo family farm have been involved in farming and agriculture? it's 6 generations, 4 generations, 8 generations, or 2 generations? Let's see. We know that answer. Lots of answers are coming in. How many generations? All right. I know we had 47 sign up, so I'll give it another second here yet to let those last few get in there. All right, and there we go. Nice job, everybody. Yes, so she had said she is the 4th generation dairy farmer on her farm, and she's a very proud 4th generation farmer. All right, next up, let's see who is our first place. Oh, very nice. AJR, you are in first place, must have been the speediest. All right, question number 2. When did Rosalie start milking cows? And there's an awesome picture of Rosalie. Do we remember what year she had said? She had kind of said the number of the amount of time she's been milking. But 2001, the 1800s, 1986, or 2015. When did Rosalie or Farmer Rosie start milking cows? Let's see. That cow behind her is pretty cute, isn't it? It's like it's posing for the picture. And that shirt she's actually wearing, Farmer Strong, is from Ag Choice. And we were talking with Mike and John from Ag Choice. So they definitely work together as a team to accomplish everything on the farm. Let's see. All right. We are wrapping it up here. Okay, 2015. Yes, so she started milking cows in 2015. Even though the farm's been around for a while, she started managing the farm in 2015. Very nice. Let's see what our leaderboard looks like. Oh, very nice. AJR, you are still in the lead. Here we go. Question number 3. What breed of dairy cattle are raised and milked at Four-Zag Hill Farm? So here's a pretty picture of their field and the farm. You can see way up in the corner on that picture. And are they having Holsteins on their farm? Do they have Guernseys, Ayrshires, Jerseys? And I guess it would, maybe got to remember what they look like. What do each one of those breeds look like? Holstein, Guernsey, Ayrshire, or Jersey? What breed of dairy cattle are raised and milked at Four-Zag Hill Farm? Go ahead and get those answers in. If we can remember back, we were checking out those calves at the end. What color were they? And if that's what color they were, what breed does that make them? All right, we're getting there. Got about 10 seconds. All right, and Holsteins. Yes, Holsteins are those black and white cows that are the beautiful big animals. Oh, look at that. Dunshee, you've crept up to the top. Congratulations. All right, 4 out of 8. Here we go. How many cows do the Zaginaylos milk on this farm? We talked about this earlier. It was discussed. It was a question that was actually asked in the chat, and we covered it a couple of times. So was it 120 cows, 25 cows, 70 cows, or 100 cows? Do we remember what we said? 120, 25, 70, or 100? And there's a picture of their barn. That was shortly after they had actually built their barn. And that's that compost bedding they were talking about. That compost bedding is just an awesome way of recycling manure on a farm and keeping those cows clean. I mean, look at those cows. They look very, very clean and just are happy and content and have lots of airflow. So an awesome building that Farmer Rosie uses for their farm. All right. Let's see. All right, yes, 70 cows. Looks like a good chunk of you guys got it right. They had said 70 cows on their farm. Very nice, 70 milking cows. All right, let's see. Ooh, looks like we had some combo breakers. All right, number 5. What type of milking parlor is used for Four-Zag Hill Farm? We were in the milking parlor. Do we remember? So this picture is actually of the milk house where the milk goes after the cows are milked. But do we remember what the milking parlor looked like? Was it, or what was it? Was it a herringbone parlor, a rotary parlor, a robotic milking system, or a step-up parlor? Do we remember? Herringbone parlor, rotary parlor, robotic milking system, or a step-up parlor? Let's see if we can remember. There were 4 stalls, and what the cow had to do to get into the stall might be a hint on what kind of parlor it was. Let's see. What type of milking parlor is used for Four-Zag Hill Farm? All right, here we go. Step-up parlor. Yes. Oh, looks like we tricked you a little bit on that one. We didn't mean to, but yes, the cows had to step up into the parlor, and it is quite simply called a step-up parlor. All right, let's see. Oh, AJR is back in the lead. Dunshee in second, Sarah in third. Here we go. 3 more questions. What type of barn is used for the milking cows at Four-Zag Hill Farm? So here's a great shot of the farm from down on there at the road. Is it a dry lot barn? Is it a bedded pack barn, tie stall barn, or a freestall barn? So we talked about this too. Do we remember? Is it a dry lot barn, a bedded pack barn, a tie stall barn, or a freestall barn? What type of barn is used for milking cows at Four-Zag Hill Farm? So it's right inside there. You can see all those windows at the top and that open airflow in that picture. And they're in that big open pen. Let's see, waiting on a couple more to come in. All right, here we go. And the answer is bedded pack barn. Correct. Yes, a bedded pack barn is what they use to mix their manure with the shavings, which makes and creates this awesome, like, multi-billion organism living bedding going on that actually keeps the bedding very fresh and clean and keeps those animals and cows very comfortable. All right, let's see. Oh, AJR, you are rocking it. Dunshee's still in second, Braden in third, and Moo Moo Cow, you're coming on up. All right, 2 more questions. Here we go. What type of bedding do they use for the cows? Did I just give it away? What type of bedding do they use for the cows? And you can kind of take a peek at that picture. Is it red newspaper? Is it blue sand? Is it yellow straw? Or is it green sawdust? Let's see, what does that look like? What type of bedding do they use for the cows? Newspaper, sand, straw, or sawdust? We've got lots of answers in right away. I might have given it away. Oops. All right, let's see. Got a couple of seconds here yet to have some answers come in. There might have been 1 or 2 more people yet. All right, go ahead. Oh, there we go. Newspaper, sand, straw, or sawdust. And the answer is dun, 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 sawdust. That is correct. Yep. So they're in that comfy sawdust that is actually then in the bedded pack mixed in with manure, dried manure, and helps keep them fresh and clean. All right, AJR, you are killing it up there. Nice job. It looks like up 7 places is Joe. Joe, you're the highest climber. It looks like you've got a shot yet here. All right, last question. Which of the following crops is not grown on the farmland of Four-Zag Hill Farm? Is it hay, grass, soybeans, or corn? Which of the following crops is not grown on the farm? Remember what Farmer Rosie very beginning when she was an overview of the farm. Do we remember? Do they not grow hay, not grow grass, not grow soybean or not grow corn? About 30 seconds to get those answers in. One of the cows in their bedded pack barn enjoying some delicious food that they make on the farm and feed their cows. Okay, so it looks like we've got Four-Zag Hill Farm. Awesome Hawk 52 is the winner of third place. Dunshee is in second. And first place is AJR. Very nice job, everybody. Congratulations. It looks like Julie was fourth place and Braden was fifth place. Very, very nice job. We're so excited that you guys were able to join us today with that fun little time there. So congratulations and thank you so much for really learning and listening to everything everyone had to say. You are more than welcome to join us again for our tour later in the afternoon. If you'd like to join us, come back to Dairy Excellence Foundation YouTube channel to join Farmer Melissa at White Knight Family Farm in Orangeville, Pennsylvania at 12:30. So thanks again, everyone, for joining us today. Congratulations to our winners from the Four-Zag Hill Farm recap. And we are just so thankful you guys joined us today. Have a great day and talk to you later.